and welcome to the Pittsburgh City Council Cablecast public hearing for Monday, May 20th, 2019. My name is Ashley Robinson, and with us today is David Tatro, our sign language interpreter. The public hearing will be on the following legislation. Bill 1599, a resolution providing for the designation as an historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the Southside Presbyterian Church, located at 1926 Sarah Street in the Southside neighborhood in the 17th Ward, City of Pittsburgh. This concludes the reading for the Cablecast public hearing for Monday, May 20th, 2019. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Cablecast public hearing of Pittsburgh City Council for today, Monday, March the 20th, 2019. I'm Councilman Kraus. I'll be chairing this afternoon's public hearing. It is in reference to a historic nomination. It is Bill 1599, and so, Madam Clerk, if we may please have the purpose of Bill 1599.
Bill 1599, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the Southside Presbyterian Church, located at 1926 Sarah Street in the Southside neighborhood, 17th Ward.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm sure some members may join us momentarily, but for the time being, we have several invited guests. We are going to begin with Sarah Quinn. She is our historic preservation planner for the city of Pittsburgh. So welcome, Sarah. I know you have some things to share with us.
I certainly do. The Southside Presbyterian Church, as was said earlier, is located at 1926 Sarah Street. It's actually a complex which is divided into three main sections that were built in four different stages. From 1869 to 1870, which is the main part of the sanctuary. In 1893, the narthex and lower addition were built. In 1913, a community center / gym was built. And in 1920, a second floor addition to the community center was added. The building rests on a smooth cut, regular coursed sandstone foundation topped with a cut stone water table. The walls consist of common bond plain brick. The first floor window and door lintels are flush with the adjacent brick wall and consist of aluminum clad wood. First floor sills are stone and have been painted gray. On the second floor, each of 6 bays are recessed, giving the illusions of pilasters between the bays. Each bay contains a Gothic arched stained glass window set in a wood frame with 2 sashes. The second floor windows have unpainted stone sills. The building's Sarah Street facade features a 1-bay deep addition from 1893 in a modified Gothic style that adapts the paneled brick facade and Gothic arch corbels of the original section of the building. The pyramidal tower roofs are clad in slate. Unlike the other facades, the north facade features rusticated stone foundation. The community center was added to the church's south facade in 1913 and is built up to the sidewalk line on both South 20th Street and Larkins Way. This wing rests on a rusticated stone foundation as well. The gym section of the community center, also built in 1913, measured 3 bays wide and 2 bays deep. The first time discussions related to building construction is mentioned is in session of the body of the ruling elders minutes in October 7th, 1867, when the session designates the collection taken the first Sabbath in October to be used for ministerial relief and church erection. By July 1869, the congregation had hired John T. Natcher to construct a building reported to cost $30,000. Mr. Natcher was a contractor and builder who was then based in Southside at 162 South 16th Street. He erected the Southside Market House, the Mount Lebanon United Presbyterian Church, some of the mills and foundries for the Garrison Foundry Company, Robinson Ray and Company, Zug Company, Schumberger and Company, McIntosh Hemphill, and Clark Solar Iron Works. On July 21st, 1869, the session met at the East Birmingham Common School building, quote, where we now worship during the erection of the church building, unquote. A March 26, 1870 account of church construction also states that the construction began in July of 1869, that is scheduled to be completed in May of 1870. By January of 1870, the first floor of the building was in use by the congregation, as minutes from January 10th state, quote, the session met in the new church session room. The church was officially dedicated in December 1870. Let's see. There, in your packet, you'll see there's a timeline of events that have occurred to the church over the years. It's a bulleted list. It's on my page 3. But it talks about purchasing of furniture for the building. Apparently in 1937, there was fire damage to the building. 1924, Duquesne Light proposed to light the building, which was pretty significant. And then the stained glass windows were repaired and cleaned in 1985. So very, very detailed record keeping. So kudos to you guys. Again, in 1994, the church's front eastern tower was struck by lightning, knocking loose some brick tile and a couple of loose bricks. Those have since been repaired. At the time, Frederick M. Winkler was an architect and has been an active church participant since 1996. And he has donated his professional expertise on maintaining and improvement projects on the church. Excuse me. The Historic Review Commission felt that this property was significant under several criteria. The first one is as the exemplification of a distinguished architectural type, style, or design. It's surprising this building is not architect designed, but it is a very significant local example of mid-19th century Gothic revival architecture. The original section of the building was constructed by John T. Natcher, as I mentioned earlier. He had his shop at 162 South 16th Street, as I mentioned, and provided most of the input into the design of the building. The basic form of the architectural details, except for the wooden hoods and corner pinnacles of the original building's exterior, survive intact on 3 sides of the building. The building's 1893 renovation is sympathetic and shares some of the basic features of the earlier building, such as the corbel cornice. The Historic Review Commission also felt that this church was significant to Pittsburgh in its association with important aspects or events in social history. Southside Presbyterian Church is locally significant to the history of Southside in association with themes of religion, ethnicity, and social history. At the end of the 19th century, when the neighborhood's manufacturing base transitioned from a labor force dominated by skilled laborers to one dominated by unskilled and, of course, foreign-born laborers, the Southside Presbyterian Church shifted its focus outward rather than inward and built a community center in 1913 to implement its mission of broad-based social engagement. At a time when the Southside was densely populated with 40,000 inhabitants, many of whom shared inadequate housing, the church opened the community's first public gym and offered a host of community activities and outreach programs such as sports, gym class, sewing classes, scouts meeting, business classes, socials, and summer camps. The church offered showers to hundreds of children in the summertime when a few had indoor bathing facilities. In 1919, the Public Health Nursing Association established a station at the church staffed by 28 nurses serving the community. It was reported that some 22,000 patrons used the church's community center in the 1921 season. Finally, the Historic Review Commission felt that this was a significant building because of its unique location and distinctive physical appearance. I think anybody that's been to the Southside anywhere near this can't help but notice the church. It's certainly a landmark, and even some of the photos we looked at before we walked in today, there had been almost no changes to the building in 50 years. It looked like the same photograph. Yeah. Well, and that's what we worry about. Yep. So, and with that, the building has a high level of historic integrity, which means it's pretty much unchanged, or insignificant changes have been made. So, it has
come to council with a positive recommendation by both Planning Commission and Historic Review Commission.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Sarah.
Sure.
So, Pastor Kathy, would you like to make some remarks to be recorded? Yeah, great, thank you.
Greetings with grace and peace to you. And I am Kathy Hamilton Vargo, pastor of the Southside Presbyterian Church. And I thank you and the other council members for your service in this important work of City Council. And thank you for considering our application for the Southside Presbyterian Church building. It is a well-built, attractive, and very functional building for varieties of uses, with beautiful and intriguing woodwork throughout. And that's all original on the inside. It's really quite remarkable. From the beauty of the sanctuary and its stained glass windows to the half-court gym for exercise and play of many kinds, to the large first-floor social hall and kitchen and numerous smaller rooms throughout the first and second stories. For the record, our boards of elders and trustees and our congregation and our nonprofit corporation all voted unanimously to make this application. We also sought the approval of Pittsburgh Presbytery, which is the body of governance and mission overseeing all the Presbyterian churches of the Presbyterian Church USA in Allegheny County. And also they voted unanimously to approve and affirm our application to have this historic designation. The Southside itself has a long and fascinating history, and our church and that building have been a part of quite a bit of that. There was a Presbyterian Sunday school that started in the neighborhood actually in 1833, and then the congregation was formed in 1851, and the main part of the building completed in 1869 to 70. The historic designations of Southside's East Carson Street have helped the neighborhood to redevelop from its dire economy in the early 1980s, and to do so with appreciation and celebration of the area's history. That has been good and important for the neighborhood's old-timers as well as newer residents. It's good to know our history and to preserve the parts that are good while also trying to add in new people and new changes that are good too, or better, changes that are better. In the church, we celebrate this as transformation, and it's something we're called to as a church as well. We're always seeking to be better serving, more loving, more inclusive, and helpful as a community. We've also done a lot of work on that old building over the years to bring out its beauty and make it more useful for folks in the neighborhood today, and we plan to continue to do so. We believe the historic designation will be a good thing for the Southside neighborhood and Pittsburgh. It's another way for us to stand in solidarity with our neighbors who value the historical architecture as well as the community service that the church has been doing for over 168 years. The Southside is currently in a process of seeking to improve its business district through working with the URA and a process of meetings and so forth. And one of the things a lot of us have been thinking is we'd like people to know there's a lot to the Southside and many positive things, that are off the main street sometimes. And one of them is there are a lot of churches. So it's fascinating also and moving to read some of the minutes of the Board of Elders. I think of April 1861, when the pastor got board approval to have a special communion service for a group of boys who were being called up to go on the quote-unquote dangerous endeavor of the Civil War with a Union regiment. I think of numbers of senior gentlemen who have stopped by since I've been there to see the place for old time's sake, and they always want to stop in the gym, which they say that as kids, when they would play there, they called it the matchbox because it has this rectangular shape. At any rate, it's a beautiful and solid building with a long and rich history as part of the Southside neighborhood, and I hope that you will approve this nomination. Thank you.
So, get up here. Pastor Hamilton, may I ask you to indulge you? Can we have your remarks, and we'll make your remarks part of the record?
Oh, you wouldn't possibly be able to read them.
I can tell they're handwritten.
They're handwritten in a lot of shorthand.
So maybe, because I loved your remarks, maybe you might clean up a copy
I could
and send it in. We'll
type
make it
it.
part of the record.
Tell
We'll
me,
be happy
tell
to.
me, just tell me where to send it, and I'll do that.
Sarah will get it to us.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Matthew, welcome.
Hi. Very briefly, it's been absolutely wonderful working on this project with Pastor Kathy and also with the congregants of Southside Presbyterian Church. It's such an extraordinary building that highlights the ordinary, and that a builder was responsible for its design and construction, that the church itself has been so open and warm to the community, and to the point where the physical structure of the church itself is directly responds to that, with the gym, with the additional facade that was put onto Sarah Street to make it more accessible. It's really wonderful to see. Something that didn't make it into the nomination because it really didn't really speak to any part of it, but I thought was important that in the show Daniel Tiger, a very popular kids show.
Daniel Tiger.
Yeah. There's kind of two segments to it. The very beginning is all animated. It's Daniel Tiger, and then they transition over to exploring like a crayon factory or something in the real world. Well, the transition scene is actually a shot of a landscape shot of Pittsburgh taken from the Southside slopes, and directly in the middle of it is Southside Presbyterian Church.
Who knew? Bright
And glowing, and then in the background you see the Golden Triangle and Pittsburgh skyline, and it just struck me as being so quintessentially Pittsburgh. It's so wonderful to be able to see a church like this and a community and a congregation kind of look at historic preservation in this way and continue to give back to the community.
One other thing I would add, in not just the physical presence of the building, but the spiritual presence of the building. The church, the congregation has always been very open and warm and friendly to people in recovery. And you have had strong commitment to 12-step programming in that building for as many years as I can remember. Very early on in my sobriety, I attended meetings at the church. And so that keeps a special place in my heart. So the building is immensely important, but what operates within the building and the heart and the spirit of what happens inside that building is as equally important. So I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done I will absolutely make recommendation to other council members that they support the nomination, and I expect, much like the Planning Commission and the Historic Review Commission, you'll receive a unanimous vote here at council as well. We would normally open this up to a public comment, but we only have one registered speaker who is not here today, so I'll close off the public comment portion of the public hearing. And if anyone would like to add additional comment, you're welcome to do so at this time. And if not, I will then close the public hearing. Sure, please.
May I mention one thing?
Yes.
We are planning a community block party
Oh, yeah,
for
please tell about it.
Saturday,
Yeah.
June 15th, from noon until 3, and it's celebrating. It is the church, the building's 150th birthday, and it's the beginning of summer. We'll have food vendors and activities for kids and live music and a DJ, and it should be a lot of fun, and free cake. And hopefully, we'll be celebrating this historic designation as well. And I hope you'll be able to come.
I will, absolutely. You can count on it. I'll be there. What about, are you going to close the street or anything? Or is the
We did do a block party
great
permit.
And everything went
request.
fine? You were great?
Well, I haven't gotten the bill yet, but I've been communicating with Julianne.
If anything, if we can help in any way, just please let us know.
Okay.
We're happy to do that. And I will absolutely be there. What kind of cake? Chocolate?
We'll probably have some.
Just
Some,
asking, okay?
We'll probably have some white and some chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of chocolate. My vote's for chocolate, please.
I'm a chocolate. I also like almond.
No, Pastor Hamilton, it's a delight having you here. Thank you very much, and thank you for all the work that you've done in this amazingly rich history of the Southside Presbyterian Church and the difference that it's made in the Southside for centuries. And we thank you for it. And Sarah and Matt, thank you as always for the work you do. We were talking a little bit off air. As soon as we clear a couple things, we'll start working then on the Blessed Mother and do that. Okay, so with that, I'm going to motion, I guess myself, to adjourn the public hearing and.